Kia ora everybody, Rebecca Hollis here and welcome to BNZ Connect. Today we're talking to Chris Wallace. He is the director of the Alternative Board. What is the Alternative Board? Well, it's a peer-to-peer business advice and planning support for a whole bunch of different business owners in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Chris Wallace. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, good to meet you.
Hey, okay. Hey, so maybe we'll kick straight off. Obviously, there's different levels of engagement when people think about growing their businesses and where they want to go to, what they want to do next. Let's start in the simplest nutshell of what is the Alternative Board?
Yeah, in a nutshell, then I suppose best way to describe it is, you know how sort of large corporates have they get together a board of directors to provide advice and expertise and accountability. I suppose as small business owners, you don't always have the luxury or even the capability to pay a board of directors to do that, to provide that sort of service. So what we do is we bring together small groups of non-competing industry business owners into a small group confidential setting, and then we work together to tackle some of the challenges and issues that everyone faces as a business owner.
I love the idea of non-conflicting or different people from different organizations they can get in the mix, which brings a different perspective. So how would the Alternative Board be different to like a regular sort of board of directors?
Yeah, I suppose if you imagine a typical board of directors, it usually be quite a highly paid exercise, but also often can be quite industry specific. So if you think about a traditional advisory board, an accountancy firm might have an advisory board made up of other accountants, which is great for that type of advice. But what the Alternative Board focuses on is more around the challenges and issues that come with being a business owner. So not industry specific, but a lot of business owners face the same issues. And so how we differ, I suppose, is that you talk about different perspectives. That's the key difference, is you're getting collective wisdom, but from other owners that have got skin in the game, that have been there, done that, but from their own perspective as business ownership, and you're benefiting from all of that advice and knowledge and experience.
And I think as well, it's massive when you've got that Chatham House Rules type of environment that's truly safe and secure, where owners can show their vulnerability. Because it feels like the biggest things that small business owners deal with in terms of a barrier is that uncomfortability to have trust in a group to show their vulnerabilities and their weaknesses and to actually talk through. Like how big is that sort of trust side of it thing for something like this?
Oh, huge, absolutely huge. You're absolutely right. Vulnerability is key because it can be really lonely as a business owner. You don't always have someone you can talk to about some of those challenges that come with owning a business, and so creating a safe place that is confidential, and we go as far as confidentiality agreements to make sure it is a safe place, is absolutely key. And getting to know each other's businesses and also what as individuals around the table, what makes each other tick. What are people's personal visions? What are they hoping to get? Creates that trusted environment so you can put your fears on the table, and it's almost a support network as much as it is an advice network. It's absolutely critical to the success of the model.
So a lot of times, businesses, they get in growth mode and they start to build up and they always think, oh, when I get to this size, then I'll have to do ... When I get to this next phase, when I do the next hire, when I do the next round. And it feels like so many business owners don't know the exact point with where they should actually engage with something like an advisory board or advisory panels and bits and pieces. Do you have some insights on when you think the best sort of timing is for a business to think about when they should look to get something like this involved with additional support of people that are outside of that can actually look into the business to help support them grow?
Yeah, I suppose no surprises. I'm going to say that actually there's never a bad time to get advice from someone else. We can always benefit from getting collective wisdom, or getting two heads is better than one when it comes to the challenges that you face at each stage of growth of a business. Whether it's startup and hearing from others who have been through that same process and what mistakes they've made and what worked for them, through growth, through consolidation, even to the point of succession planning and exit strategy and ready to sail. All of those stages, it's a lot easier when it's not just you having to make the decisions, and you can bounce ideas off others, or you can test your thinking or test your plan and get some challenge, get some different perspectives and some accountability that comes with it. So, to me, there's never a bad time to seek advice. It's just, make sure it's the right type of advice.
So after these small businesses are brave enough to get through, or they're fast growing, they're into the mix, like I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of the similar type of issues or challenges or concerns that they actually will have in their businesses. For what you've seen with the Alternative Board, what are some of those main similar recurring things that you keep seeing time and time again with business
Yeah,
owners?
yeah, you're right, and there's no surprises as common themes because business ownership's a bit like that, isn't it? But there's definitely a lot of issues that come up on the table around obviously cash flow and financials, particularly over the last couple of years. That's been a challenge. Sales and marketing challenges comes up a lot, and customer retention type stuff. Hiring and firing is a big one. So a lot of business owners start small and it's just them, and then they look back a couple of years later and they've got a team of 20, and they realize that actually there's a whole series of leadership and people skills that are really helpful that they haven't necessarily brought with them. So getting some advice on how to tackle everything from recruitment to training and development and exit and that type of stuff. And probably another key one is that exit strategy, succession planning. How do I get out of this? What is the plan? And the other one I think that's really important to me and that I see a lot is getting that balance between personal and business life. No one goes into business to be all in, and getting balance between the two is important, but it's really hard to extract yourself and find some personal time. And that's, sometimes there's accountability around how do I do that without sacrificing what I want to achieve.
So if you've got a startup and you're looking to go from, say, 1 to 1,000 sort of staff, do you look at it in trenches of where you think you should have an advisory board and then a board of directors, or do you think of graduation phases of businesses when they get to certain sizes, in terms of how they should think about it if they're looking for the long game?
Yeah, I think there are definitely different stages or different needs at different times. So, I mean, if you were getting up to around 1,000 staff, you're probably going to be at a level where you're going to have a board of directors and be able to sort of justify that, and from a cost point of view and from a rationale point of view. But up until then, I think the getting advice is never a bad idea, and it's just working out where's that advice come from, and you're surrounding yourself with the right type of people who can offer you what you want, but not also just agree with everything you're putting on board. So, and that's I think the key advice I give to people is, regardless of where you get that advice from, make sure it's not all a group of people that are going to agree with everything you say and see the world the way you do, because you're going to create some blind spots there, and recognizing you want someone who you trust, who can also challenge you, bring a different perspective that you can take or leave, but at least your thought process is being challenged.
Is it quite interesting to see some that come into it being a little bit naive to not realize that even though businesses can be in different industries, they still would deal with the exact same type of problems, regardless if you're manufacturing thing or tech or whatever it may be? Is that quite a mind-opening experience to change the perspective of a lot of these business owners as they go through this process?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's fascinating the number of times I've sat around a board and just you see the look on someone's face, go, "Oh, thank goodness, it's not just me. I thought it was just me tackling with, dealing with some of the stuff." And that realization that while we cover so many different industries and sizes of business and backgrounds and products and services, some of those issues are the same. They might look a little bit different or different flavor, but that realization that someone else has been through the same challenge and come out the other side, and you can benefit and learn from that is definitely eye-opening. You see that the light bulbs flash for a lot of them, go, "Oh, why did I not realize this before?" But at least you create the opportunity for people to sort of step out of working in the business and being able to work on it and look big picture, and sometimes you miss those things. You get stuck in the weeds, and I suppose what we like to do is give people the space and the opportunity to actually step out of that and look at some of those bigger issues and get some some forward momentum on it.
What do you think is the biggest mental handbrake that stops Kiwi business owners from proactively engaging with others that can actually help them?
Good question. I think you used the term vulnerability before, and I think it's something around that. There's, whether it's a Kiwi thing or just a business owner thing or just a human thing, that willingness to acknowledge that you can't know everything and you don't know everything, and being okay to accept that. And as a business owner, you sort of have to be, a small business owner particularly, have to be a jack of all trades. You've got to be the finance expert, the health and safety expert, the sales and marketing expert, customer service, you name it. You've got to be all of those, and it's just not practical. You can't be all those things. So being willing to go, actually, I don't have all the answers. I'm willing to learn from others. I'm willing to acknowledge that I don't have all the answers. And I think that's probably the biggest hang up that people have to face. And so the people we work with tend to be ones who are open-minded, willing to learn from others, willing to grow and focus on their personal and professional development as well. That they don't have all the answers.
And it's probably just that big one of the fear of that vulnerability to, it feels so lonely at the top of each different thing, not realizing there's, hundreds of thousands of other people in the exact same situation, right? And it gets kind of tricky for them to just detach themselves to realize, hey, other people going through the same stuff that I am. There's the problems that I'm challenging have happened millions, if not billions of times before in time and time. So if businesses want to find out a little bit more about what you do and some different ways that might be able to help, where can they go to? What can they do?
Yeah, so I mean, obvious suggestion is to check out our website, which is just thealternativeboard.co.nz, and there's some, a lot of more information about how the process works. Because we don't just do the small group board meetings every month. We also do one-on-one coaching, and sometimes that's just a venting session. And we also have a whole suite of business improvement tools that can help depending on what a business owner needs. So there's a lot of information on there. There's also links to all the various contacts around the country of who you can talk to locally. And I suggest reach out and have a coffee, have a coffee and a conversation and see if it might be a good fit for you. The other thing I'd suggest is on that website, there's an opportunity to do a business diagnostic. So you can go and spend 5 minutes just sort of reflecting on your own business and your own views of it, which might spit out, some ideas where you've got some need or some areas for development, or where you might benefit from some focused attention. And last thing I'd say is, look, Alternative Board is really pleased to be in partnership with the BNZ. And so for BNZ customers, there's a chance to actually, through your BNZ business broker, engage with the Alternative Board as well, and get a bit of support on the cost to be part of that. So talk to the Alternative Board, or talk to your BNZ broker as well.
Could have said it better myself. What I like the idea of just someone to actually vent to, because so many times when no one's talked to anyone else before, just that first thing of just brain dumping everything that's just in them is just such a great experience to go through, to just emotionally reset, to get the emotion out before they can make the actual right strategic decision for the business.
We all need that. We all need someone. I mean, I liken myself to, it's being a sounding board. Yes, you talk about advice and coaching and stuff, but it's sometimes just a thinking partner or a sounding board. It's just offloading some stuff, and sometimes that's all you need. That business owner just has had a crappy week, and they just need to go bleh and know that it's not going to go anywhere else, and it's off their chest, and now they can move on and be solutions focused. And sometimes it's just bouncing ideas off someone else who's impartial and independent, but actually has skin in the game and cares as well. And it's not just a random, but it's someone who actually knows what's important to you personally as a business owner, and how, whether you're getting closer towards that or further away. And that's something that really motivates me to do what I do. That's why I love it so much.
Epic. Well, really appreciate your time, Chris. Thanks for awesome. Joining in. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining in with BNZ Connect. As per usual, we'll be putting some links in the comments below so you can check out a little bit more about it. But probably last thing is, when you reach out to others that are a lot smarter than yourself, you'll be surprised how far you can get. But just getting over that first hurdle of being vulnerable to, show those other sides which you may not be fully comfortable with, is definitely the way to go if you want to grow you and your business. The same thing of New Zealand wins when New Zealanders win. It's just another way for that to do it. Enjoy the day, team, and I'll talk to you soon.